This is the Daily Saints Pod with Zach and Greg.
Hello and welcome back to the Daily Saints Pod. My name is Greg, flying solo today with a match review episode of a nervy win against Norwich, let's say, but a win nonetheless. Now 13 games unbeaten Saints, heading up into 6th, and it just feels like we can't be stopped. Just another game that, wasn't the most convincing of performances. It was such a strange game. It felt like a really good, solid performance, but also like we just didn't do enough to get it across the line. It was the same issues that we saw at West Brom, except the performance wasn't bad like that. It's just that the ball movement was just a bit slower than it needed to be, I think. Trying to play around Norwich, who, to be fair to them, their press was very good and we struggled to break through it. But we did, and we got the win, and, we held them at length. And, who would have thought at any point earlier in the season that we'd be, getting games like that over the line? The difference is immeasurable in the team that we were earlier in the season. But look, I'm going to try and keep it a little bit structured and start with the team news and lineups that we obviously saw at the start of the night. So the lineup came in and it was pretty much as predicted from us in our preview episode, right? Adozi coming in and starting and playing as that wide player. Matchday staying in the team and not really, no other changes. No Leo on the bench, no Stewart on the bench. As predicted, just throwing it out there, they might be involved, presumably to keep the opposition guessing and preparing for them. But it was good. It was exactly what we expected. Still this same sort of 4-1-4-1 off-the-ball formation, which kind of built to a 4-3-3 in possession. It was quite fluid. It was quite clear that our plan was to try and build up from the back and try and draw their press and find the spaces and find the gaps. And we just didn't really at any point manage to decisively do that time and time again. We were quite happy with being patient, though, and waiting for those gaps. And chances did come. We had probably the clearest chances of the game. A couple of shouts and all sorts of nonsense from their defenders. I hate to bring it in as a point of contention once again, but that referee was rubbish. But equally to both sides, I think, again, like we talked about in the Coventry game, I think you booked 6 Norwich players, and some of them were deserved, and some of them were questionable, and then, he booked a few of our players in the second half, which, again, some of them deserved, some of them not. There was a penalty shout in the first half against Adozi. From where I was sat, the other end of the ground, to be fair, I looked at it and went, it looked like 6 of one, half dozen the other. They were kind of at each other. But looking at the replay, he just gets pulled down by the arm. It's just ridiculous. Clear as day penalty, but, it matters less when you take into account the result, I suppose. But Laren continues to be the most fouled man on the planet to never receive a free kick. But if he so much as shrugs his shoulders in the direction of a Norwich player, a free kick goes the other way. It's the inconsistency week to week and the quality of refereeing in this league is such a disappointment compared to the quality of football in the league and the quality of competition in the league. And honestly, they need to sort it out. It's getting beyond a joke. And I know that it's the same in the Premier League, but it's ridiculous. It's not something that we should have to talk about every week because it's not what I want to do. I don't want to go to the football and call the referee all the names under the sun because I think he's doing a rubbish job. I would love to go to the game and not think about the referee at all, and my criticism to be solely based off of how either team is playing. But, we can wish for these kind of things, but whether they will come into play, probably not, I suppose. But when we weren't trying to play it out from the back, we almost seemed happy to just sit off a bit and let them have the ball, and maybe felt that our strength was in transition, which is something that we've, it is one of our strengths. It's why we don't do so well against teams that are happy to let us have the ball. It's because when we switch it up again, move forward fast and do so in numbers. That's where a bulk of our chances come from. The amount of times that Manning and Bree are making overlapping runs and are higher up the pitch than Matchday and Adozi, who are given this sort of freedom to roam inside as well to cause havoc. Sometimes it's very effective. Sometimes it ends up with 5 players on the same wing of the pitch and no options to get out of that very tight space, and then we pass it around the area until we give it away. But sometimes it's very effective and creates very good chances. And it was enough today. And when we were off the ball, we on the whole kept them pretty quiet. A couple of shots from range that were, I would say, pretty comfortable saves for Perrette, and one exceptional double save, and then I guess one that kind of could have gone anywhere off of Stevens right at the end and bounced off the top of the crossbar, which, didn't do anyone's nerves any good. It's not, we talked a lot earlier in the season about the scar tissue and the mentality of the players, but I think I speak for all Saints fans to say that we have suffered enough trauma as a set of fans to never be comfortable at 1-0 up. It was not a game where we were sitting pretty, and I felt like we probably needed 2 to win the game, and as it was, we shored up and held our own and got the win. What impressed me was that our press, even though we were allowing them to have the ball, it was not freedom on the ball. Pretty much until the end of the game, we were there competing for the ball with them and just slowing them down immensely. They really struggled to get out of it, and it showed. We were happy to just let them pass it around to the back and then put the pressure on in the middle of the park, and that kind of 4-1-4-1 shape helped with that immensely. We were really strong in the middle of the park, and they just couldn't get through it most of the time, which is why, more or less all of their shots ended up coming and being lashed at from range, because that was the only option they had left. So, look, it was effective and it worked, and, it's a confidence that we have in the defence that we have not had at points earlier in the season, and that kind of speaks for itself. I mentioned Perrette, obviously got man of the match in the stadium from Saints fans, and probably rightfully so. Definitely 3 points that we don't have if he's not the player in the goal. The confidence that he pushes out to the defenders in front of him, and the command he has of the box, and the saves he is able to make, it just brings like an immeasurable value to the team to have that confidence in the keeper behind you. And he's put so much effort into keeping a clean sheet. It is like his single driving motivational force, and I love it. And he's slightly eccentric, as we saw at the end of the game, with his interaction with the Saints fans and enjoying the clean sheet and the win and the 13-game unbeaten run. And it was great to see. And, it makes the summer very interesting if, Ramsdale isn't going to be sold to Newcastle, as it seems might be the case. Who do we end up going with? And honestly, in my opinion, apparently our option to buy is £8 million. It seems like an absolute no-brainer for me. I would genuinely take Perrette over Ramsdale at this current point, I think. But look, that's an interesting discussion that I'm sure, will continue to have in the summer, depending on what happens with the rest of the season, right? That's an interesting one. But yeah, he was exceptional today. Again, that's 2 games in a row where he has been the important difference maker to get us the win. So what an incredible signing in January that is to turn the season around. In hindsight, seeing where we're at, so I can't heap enough praise on him. Thought he was excellent. Finazaz, of course, the goal scorer, but definitely on one of his hot games today. We talked about him as a slightly hot and cold player, but actually the space he was able to create today, with Norwich almost seeming to hang off of him at certain points, was just unbelievable. Not just, of course, the goal, which was excellent, just an absolute dream of a first touch to take 2 players completely out of the equation, and an incredible finish to put it top bins. But just his play in general, his fight, his press, he didn't seem to stop running at all today, which is a criticism that we have had of him in the past, and there was none of that today. He was physically strong. He wanted to be first to every ball, and every time he got on the ball, he looked to try and create something, and it was an exceptional performance, rewarded with the goal, his 10th of the season. It's great. It's just such a great player to watch and enjoy watching play football when he is in form like he was tonight. It's like genuinely some of the vision he has, or some of the passes he makes are unreal. Just very enjoyable to watch. Laren, for me, also very good. Mentioned earlier, like I say, continues to get assaulted every single game. Never given a foul against. Just baffling to me. But again, it's another one of those games where, on paper, he wasn't able to break through the back line, and I don't think he had a shot. But every time he was on the ball, he was swarmed by 3 Norwich players, and what that meant was that someone else was free, and he a few times was able to find that player and get an opportunity to create that chance. And what he brings as a physical presence, and as a threat with a bit of pace running in the press, I have to say, their keeper did not enjoy having the imposing figure of Laren running at him to press the ball at any point in the evening, and it was good. It's at the end of the day, it's a team game, and as stats driven as people are in this modern day and age, you have to understand that the work he does to create the stuff for other people by distracting other eyes is as important, because you just don't get the freedom or the space to do it. Yeah, it's a good performance for me. I think we look better with Laren than we do with Stewart at the moment, and I just hope that he can stay fit enough to continue to be impactful. And thought he was excellent. Some good hold-up play as well today, and good stuff all around. Adozi, obviously, getting rewarded with the start today. Assisted, of course, Laren in that West Brom game, and just has good energy about him at the moment. He looked like a completely revitalised player. He was bright. He was energetic. He defended and covered Manning very well at times, with Manning sort of pushing high at certain points as part of that sort of rotation to drag a defender out and try and create space. But Adozi was good. So he made some some good important tackles, picked up the ball really deep and immediately looks up and tries to run. And it's great. Tries to drag us forward that way and beat a man, and that's what you want from a wide player of his quality. And several times in the game, much like we say about Leo, he didn't have an answer for his pace other than to just kick him and take him out of the game as best they could by fouling him. And he won several free kicks, some of which led to half decent chances. And of course scored the goal that was disallowed for offside, which was, slightly dubious because it was a Zaz that was offside and he didn't touch the ball, but he did go to play the ball. So I guess technically in the name of the law, it should have been offside, but it's a shame because it was a performance that was worthy of the goal. I was so happy for him when he scored and so devastated when I looked up and saw the linesman holding the flag up. But yeah, I thought he was brilliant. I can only presume the substitution to take him off was minutes based and either saving him for the weekend or watching the minutes that he's allowed to play as he's still kind of coming back to full fitness. But I think that must have been the case because otherwise I wouldn't have taken him off at all because he was just very good. And it's great to see him coming back into a bit of form and finding his feet because, who knows how long Leo is actually going to be out, and he's potentially going to be called upon in these very important moments to bring that quality that we know he does have and stick with it. But yeah, very good for him. Very pleased for and with him this evening. The whole team performed really well. We could go through the entire team and praise every single one. Matchday was continued to be strong on that right-hand side and again made some excellent defensive plays and some pretty good going forward plays, some nice passes. Yeah, it's going to be really hard for Tom Fellows to get back in the team because of how well Matchday playing at the moment. And what a great problem to have. Speaking of Fellows, just the weekly reminder that I definitely cursed that man to never score a goal. He found himself in acres of space at the back post, only to painfully watch a slightly overhit cross just graze like half a foot above his head. If he was just like half a foot taller, we'd have been having a different conversation, but unfortunate for him. So Tom, I am so sorry that I have done that to you and cursed you and stopped you scoring, but you still looked good when you came on the pitch tonight. That standard Tom Fellows energy, taking players on, making life difficult for the defence in those few moments that we managed to get that high up the pitch towards the end of the game. Look, we talked and are going to talk a lot about the transfer windows from this summer and this January. And Sports Republic have obviously had question marks over their heads for because of the form we were in before. And some of that's gone away because of the form we're on, and that's fine and that's great. But it doesn't mean that at the end of the season there's not going to be a full, hindsight moment where we look back and think about whether it was a success or not. And the biggest question that remains for me is what were we thinking sending James Bree out on loan at the start of the season? Because I think currently he is probably the best player for us on the pitch, just involved in so much of the game. Excellent defensively, just an absolute brick wall sometimes. Gets forward equally well, creates chance after chance. There were 3 crosses I can think of early on that were lethal. Obviously had the shot saved that bounced out to Adozi for the disallowed goal, and was involved in putting the cross in for the penalty that should have been for Adozi. Just a player that has properly stepped up and is, doesn't really have any competition for a place at right back anyway at the moment. But if he did, would be an irreplaceable part of the system. Yeah, very, very, very good. Yeah, I don't know. An interesting game. It's interesting that the performances all feel so positive, and I feel like we played really well, but also I just couldn't feel comfortable. It wasn't a comfortable win by any stretch of the imagination. We let them have more than we should have, and we didn't create half as much as we should have. I think on merit and on performance, like we still deserve the win. You know, based off of nothing but vibes from stadium and sort of my overall view on the game. But you know, the stats maybe say otherwise. 14 shots for Norwich compared to 9 for us, and you know, XG. Not to upset Zach, but you know, XG they were higher than us, and yeah, it's one of those games where it was a win where we probably didn't play our best, but were still quite impressive against a very informed team in Norwich, even, you know, with the position they find themselves in the table. You know, their form is is immense, right? 4 wins and a loss. The loss being us. 4 wins and a loss before us, and then, of course, the loss tonight. And, you know, a team that on any other day could very easily have come here and beat us. But we saw it out with 13 games unbeaten in all competitions. We are 6th in the table now. You know, it's great. What an incredible run of form we're on. What an amazing job Tonda has done to turn it around and instill that confidence in the players and get us into a position where we're winning games like this that we just were never winning and never going to win earlier in the season for, you know, any reason. We just willed this game over the line effectively with our struggle to sort of keep Norwich at bay. But it was good. We won. It was not comfortable. I did not enjoy it. A horrible way to win a game. Would have much preferred my prediction to come true, where we scored 3 more goals in the second half. But 3 points and fate and destiny truly in our own hands, heading into another home game at the weekend. Yeah, what's going to stop the Tonda train? Because I don't know if anything can. Certainly feels that way. It's nice. It's a nice feeling to have after a horrible time in previous seasons, but it's great. It's good. It's fantastic. It's all of the good things, and it's going to be great to continue to look to build from that and head back to St Mary's on Saturday, and all that. But this is all I've got time for today. So thank you so much for sticking with me through this episode. Let me know your thoughts on the match and how you feel about it and how you think it went in the comments on the socials. We're Daily Saints Pod absolutely everywhere. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, X, Blue Sky, YouTube, everywhere. Hit us up. Let us know. We love hearing from you. We will be back tomorrow to talk about that very game coming up at St Mary's that I was talking about against Oxford. Until then, though, enjoy that win, everyone. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you then.
This is the Daily Saints Pod with Zach and Greg.